I stand here to deliver the speech by His Excellency the President, who was supposed to be with you, but because of other exigencies, he has delegated me to deliver his address to this important conference. The Director of Ceremonies, Permanent Secretary for Energy and Power Development, Engineer Gloria Magombo. Vice President, Honorable Keno retired KCD Moadi in absentia on other government business. The Minister for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Matabele North Province, Honorable Richard Moyo. Minister of Energy and Power Development, Honorable Edgar Moyo. Other honorable ministers here present, and I recognize the Minister of Finance and Economic Development, Investment Promotion. I think he did that well today on that other cap, the investment promotion. And Minister of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development, Dr. Anxious Jongwe Masuka. When he's here, he wants to be called Masuku. And in the other side, he wants to be called the other way, Masuka. Honorable Deputy Ministers, senior government officials, members of the Diplomatic Corps, senior government officials, the Mayor of the city of Victoria Falls, stakeholders and captains of energy sector here present, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor and privilege to be officiating at this year's edition of the International Renewable Energy Conference and Expo in Zimbabwe, in this tourist resort city of Victoria Falls, Mos Otunya. The fact that all of you organizers and participants alike have consistently convened annually over the last 5 years is commendable. Congratulations. It attests to your collective commitment to building a sustainable energy future, as suggested by your theme for this 5th edition. The wealth of knowledge this forum has unraveled over the last 5 years must be exhibited in the content of presentations, discussions, and subsequent recommendations. All your efforts should ultimately lead to tangible investments, projects, and programs. Players and stakeholders in the energy sector have a responsibility to proffer and implement robust solutions to propel the attainment of the 2030 energy sector targets. As we do so, it is critically important that we remain cognizant of our obligations and commitments at the global level. More so, that Zimbabwe joined the Committee of Nations in supporting the Renewables and Energy Efficiency Pledge, as well as the Cooling Pledge at COP28, held in the United Arab Emirates last November. The various pledges are indeed key for the realization of Vision 2030. Sustainable Development Goal number 7, and increased access to clean and affordable energy. Ladies and gentlemen, Zimbabwe, being one of the founding members of the Accelerated Partnership of Renewables in Africa, is collaborating and partnering with other African countries in the implementation of sustainable energy programs and projects. This is set to double our national energy mix while contributing to regional energy security and investment opportunities that leaves no one and no place behind. The multi-pronged challenges of climate change, coupled with urgent need to industrialize our country, demand you to be bold and decisive in the type of interventions and investments you make to close the energy gap. We cannot be found wanting and must keep up with the rest of the world. Conferences such as this and other platforms should critically examine the ongoing transition by incorporating the associated technological and socio-economic dimensions. Aspects related to the human capital development needs in terms of skills and competencies must be nurtured, should be given due attention. Youth and gender mainstreaming, as well as the concerns of our communities in both rural and urban areas, among other critical aspects, should form part of the discourse around energy transition. On the part of my government, we are supporting Empowering Lives and Livelihoods initiative, launched at COP28. The program aims to broaden dialogue and partnerships on the nexus around water, agriculture, food systems, and health value chains, as these relate energy transition. To date, we are grateful for the invaluable partnership and support from the International Renewable Energy Agency for the development of a country program and prioritized strategy. This initiative will sharpen our interventions specifically in relation to access to clean energy by the health sector, as well as the agriculture value chains. Distinguished delegates, our statistics reflect that Zimbabwe is making steady progress in stabilizing and increasing total energy output. However, more work must be done to ensure consistent access to clean energy across our provinces, including in rural communities. We thus stand ready to welcome more investors and partners to take up opportunities to promote new energy technologies and smart off-grid systems across the country, with the Ministry of Energy and Power Development taking the lead. As we march towards realizing energy self-sufficiency, the Second Republic is increasing the share of renewables as we migrate from non-renewable sources. Going into the future, we shall continue to prioritize the maintenance and rehabilitation of existing energy infrastructure over and above new greenfield energy projects. Meanwhile, the upgrading of our country's energy generation, transmission and distribution networks, as well as other infrastructure, is being scaled up. In view of the critical relationship between energy and sustainable socio-economic development, I call upon the sector, and in particular the Ministry of Energy and Power Development, to enhance energy conservation and efficiency awareness. In addition, the provision of sound technical and professional services to investors and all stakeholders in the sector must be guided by the ease of doing business work ethic advanced by my administration. As ministries, departments, and agencies in the energy sector, you are challenged to facilitate and not to frustrate partners and investors. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, the negative impact of climate change remains topical and pressing worldwide. Zimbabwe is not exempt, having been severely affected by this phenomenon, including in the energy sector. This conference must therefore undertake thought-provoking conversations for interventions that advance sustainable growth and a higher quality of life for our peoples, even in the midst of climate change. The energy sector is also urged to equally shift the discourse so that we chart greener development pathways that do not compromise environmental biodiversity and our pressing need to modernize and industrialize Africa. On its part, my government will continue to fine-tune policies and heighten the implementation of flagship projects to manage the uncertainties associated with climate change. The adage goes, alone one can go fast, but together we can go far. Hence, our unit of purpose and determination to build greater climate change resilience in the energy sector should result in increased collaboration among the stakeholders and investors. Let us work concertedly to achieve net zero targets as outlined in the nationally determined contributions. The government project support and implementation agreement has been developed and now this afternoon has been issued. We want to see action on the ground. The renewable energy targets based on the nationally determined contribution are set to reduce greenhouse gas emissions while positively impacting on the demand and supply trends and maintain affordability of power to end user consumers. I call upon manufacturers of green energy solutions and products to be more proactive and establish factories in Africa. Knowledge sharing around current trends, technologies, and financing avenues must be promoted. The centrality of the renewable energy space for the future of the planet entails that we cannot exist or operate in silos. There is need for unit and coordinated efforts. Ladies and gentlemen, Zimbabwe is a safe investment destination. In the energy sector, renewable energy sources and technologies are low-hanging fruits for realizing the goal of increasing electrification of rural communities. Hence, the exploitation of clean energy sources, especially for establishing main grid systems, must be supported for accessible and affordable energy for all our people. Growing agricultural production activities and the discovery of exploitable mineral deposits across the country require solutions that are quick to deploy. I therefore challenge investors and other stakeholders to set aside resources for research and development towards understanding the needs of rural communities, as well as to develop goods and services which give impetus to rural industrialization and ultimately improve the quality of life of our people. I invite strategic partnerships for the rural electrification program so that capacity is increased to roll out rural renewable energy projects and programs. These include the adoption of new technologies to harness solar, wind, and biogas, among others. To this end, I commend independent power producers and other private players who have taken up the challenge by investing in energy and power projects across all provinces, some of which will soon be ready for commissioning. Well done. In conclusion, may I once again express my confidence in your collective abilities as stakeholders to propel our aspirations in the renewable energy sector. As patron of this forum, my door remains